Lesson 11.3 is data distributions. So some of this will definitely seem familiar. You've done things like mean, median, mode before. Some of these pieces are going to be new. I don't think you've probably talked about standard deviation before. And then we'll talk about quartiles, may or may not be new, kind of depends. I know when I taught middle school, they came up in the middle school curriculum. When you were in middle school, I don't know if they were teaching them or not. But, so, first thing we're going to talk about, probably the main thing we're going to spend our time on today, finding measures of center and spread. When it talks about finding measures of center, your measures of the center are usually your mean, median, and mode. Okay? Ones that we've been there, done that, those are old news. Measures of spread. So how spread out is the data? Well, standard deviation is an example of that. We're also going to talk about range, interquartile range. Those are examples of how spread out is the data. Okay, so let's go through some vocabulary here. The mean or average of a data set. How do we find the mean? Okay, add them all up, divide by the number of numbers. You've been doing that for years, right? Now, what may or may not be new to you is mean can be represented as X bar. So an X with a little bar over it, okay? Now, when you are on various statistical locations, they might say that the mean, they might give mean as X bar. For instance, when I do some statistics on my graphing calculator, they give me the symbols. It doesn't say the mean is this. It gives me the symbol X bar and tells me that. Okay, so things to be aware of. Standard deviation, okay? This is one of our talks about the spread of the data. How much the values in a data set vary or deviate from the mean. So is the group of numbers all clustered together, or is it really spread out? Okay, that is your standard deviation. It's the measure of the variability or spread of the data. Now, notice what I say here. We are going to use technology to find the standard deviation. And that's why I'm opting to use the iPads and use Excel to find that. Okay, now, I will tell you, I learned last night how to do the standard deviation on my graphing calculator and on these calculators that most of you guys use. It is possible, okay? However, I wanted something that was universal. Everyone has access to Excel, as opposed to standard deviation, for instance, on my graphing calculator versus my scientific calculator. Those two themselves look totally different versus I wouldn't know how to do standard deviation on the Casios, okay? I would have no clue. You know, a lot of things I can figure out, but I would know nothing because I just now learned how to do standard deviation on my scientific, my Texas Instruments. So now, so we're going to talk about standard deviation. Notice, standard deviation is referred to as sigma, which is that little Greek letter right there that looks like a little fancy O maybe. That is sigma. Okay, we're also going to talk about 5-number summary. And I've never called it 5-number summary. This book is the first place I've seen that calls it 5-number summary. I think of this as box and whisker plot. Okay, box and whisker plot is when you're finding these 5 pieces of information, what they're referring to as the 5-number summary. Okay, first of all, you'll find, well, the piece of information you'll have to find, minimum and maximum value, which are the lowest value and the highest value. We'll have to find the median, which you guys know how to find, right? Median is the middle. And then we'll also have to find the first and third quartile, which will be pretty easy because the first and third quartile are the median of the lower half of the data and the median of the upper half of the data. So basically your quartiles are taking your data and splitting it into 4 pieces. We use the median to split, and then we use the other quartiles to split those halves. So that's the information we're looking at today. Okay? So our first question wants to know, what are the mean, standard deviation, and 5-number summary of the following data set? So let me move this screen around a little bit because I don't have it on the next screen. I am recording because I don't have a good recording yet today. So I am recording because this morning we had to do Pi Day, so they didn't get as much lesson. And then 6th hour, my BenQ flipped out in the middle of class. So I was recording, but I only got half a recording. So
5.
okay, guys, how are you finding the mean? Because you're doing this, not me.
Add.
We're gonna add them all up. And you're gonna tell me what you get, right?
No.
The average, yeah, yes, add all of them.
Let's see. There's not 7, but there's a 4 plus a 12 plus a
John.
15.
Quietly. Figure out what they total. Figure out how many numbers there are to divide by.
No.
And then find your mean.
There's a lot of numbers here.
There are.
It's a lot of adding.
Do you want it rounded to the whole number? Or you want the?
GVIX.
I'm taking the whole decimal.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. What do these numbers add up to be?
Oh, 186.
186. Now you know my thing.
What are we dividing by, Cam?
16.
Why 16?
Because there are 16 numbers.
Because there are 16 numbers. What is 186 divided by 16, Dane?
11.625.
I put that in the wrong way.
Okay, now, this could also be written as X bar is 11.625. Because remember, X bar is another way to say mean. Okay? And again, I'm just showing that for helpfulness there, okay? Next, we're going to talk standard deviation. Now, in order to do standard deviation, we're going to be in Excel. Are you familiar with Excel?
No. I don't think I've ever used it in Thailand.
I was kind of disappointed to hear that in third hour when they said,
I use it to
I've never
calculate-
used this Excel.
I use it to calculate my grades.
It's just. We have Excel? We do.
You definitely have Excel, or I would not be teaching this way.
Get started.
We don't.
We have a lot of data.
Do we use a blank workbook?
Yes, go into a blank workbook in Excel, and then I'll meet you there,
Dang.
hopefully.
Yes, actually, I have that.
Look at my
Oh, no, dude, that's from when Mr. Kevin made me do the get a seat from.
Dude, bro.
That was a while ago. That was like last year. Not last year, but last I think week.
What was the calculator?
So bad.
Okay, guys, so Excel. Hopefully you've made it there.
You have GarageBand?
Get your iPad out, please. I want everyone in this. Please and thank you. Okay, Excel. Get into Excel. When you load Excel, okay, it probably asked you if you wanted a blank worksheet, right?
Oh, I guess.
Pick a blank worksheet.
Just Excel.
Okay.
You have like.
Mine, I've already been in Excel multiple times today, so it did not ask me. So, right here, you should be on a screen that looks like this. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we need to go over to the Formulas tab. We want to be, whoops, on Formulas. Okay. Because here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lead you to where you find the standard deviation function. And so, we have all these drop-down menus here, but none of these are the statistics menu. So over here where there's the 3 dots, I'm going to use that little drop-down arrow. And there next to the 3 dots, the very first one under More Functions is
Statistics.
Statistical. So pick Statistical for me. And you'll notice that there is a long line of information. Okay? Now,
We're gonna pick
what are we trying to find?
standard.
We already found the average.
Standard.
However, could you use this to find the average?
Yes.
Yes. But we are looking for standard deviation.
Where's that?
Probably in the S's.
Go alphabetically to the S's.
But I don't know alphabet.
John? Not doing it. Go to the S's.
Standardized. Standard.
Okay, when you get here, you will notice there are several options for standard deviation, right? So STDEV, we need to pick the one that is standard deviation .p. The P stands for population, and we're finding the standard deviation of a population as opposed to a sample. Like this is the whole group of numbers. Okay, so standard deviation of a population. You're going to pick that. And now you'll notice it puts something over here in box 1 or wherever you last were. And up here in the formula bar, it says standard deviation.p, and it says number, comma number, comma number. So this is where we're going to type in our numbers. So you need to type in your list of numbers, putting a comma in between each one.
Every single number.
Yes. So we're going to do 4, comma, 12, comma, 15, comma, 9, comma, 14,
Wrong button.
16. And you can get in there and backspace and stuff like normal.
9.
13.
You want us to get rid of those like dots?
So,
But that's just for the next one.
Oh, okay.
6, 7, 6. Just let me get to the end. Whoops, I forgot my comma. Watch for your commas.
you
25.
have to erase that little number.
Let me get to the end.
Oh, we're putting spaces.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, please listen. Okay, I typed my last number. Easiest way I found is after I type that last number, I just hit return. And it does the math for me. Okay? The 3 dots, I think just because I haven't typed anything after that last number, it just automatically finishes there. I'm going to hit enter. And you'll notice I have a value in the box I was working. That is your standard deviation. Now, if you did not get that number, 6.31343. Troubleshooting tips. First of all, did you pick standard deviation.p? Okay. Then other than that, notice if I go click on my number that I got, notice what comes up here in the formula bar. I can see all the numbers I typed in, yes? Check. Did you skip a number? Did you forget a comma? Did you add an extra comma? Did you duplicate a number? Those are things to check. In other words, double check that list of numbers. And that's going to be my mistake of where you made a guess.
I'll put a comma in it like 6.
Okay, so go in. You can just tap right here in the formula bar, get it so it looks right, and hit enter again. And it should refigure for you.
Every time.
Yep. Okay. Success?
That's all we did.
That's all you do to find standard deviation. That's how you can use Excel to find standard deviation. As I said, the scientifics do it. I didn't really care for the scientifics because I couldn't see the numbers I typed in. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was weird, and then I would be teaching multiple different scientifics that I don't necessarily know how to do standard deviation. You guys don't all have access to the graphing calculator. That was pretty easy, but if you don't have the access, it doesn't work. So
So we will be able to use an iPad on the test then?
I have not decided what I'm going to do test time.
Or can you like lock
I could teach it on the calculator and figure out that option. I could have you try and use Excel, or I may just not put standard deviation on the assessment. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. Okay. So, are we good?
Yep.
Okay, let's go back then and write down some information on our notes, because here's the next trick. Are you going to remember how to do this when you get to homework?
Yeah.
Hopefully. But if not, I'll write down a few pieces of information for you. So, standard deviation. We used Excel And in Excel, we went to the Formulas tab, right? In Excel, we went to Formulas. Once we were in Formulas, we had to use that drop-down menu, right? That was the 3 dots. And we picked Statistical when we got that drop-down menu. Now, I had someone this morning tell me, or the last period tell me, that those 3 dots didn't show up the first time they went into Excel. So you may have to do some searching. If not, I will say I thought about using my laptop to do Excel and show this, but when I went to do it on there, it worked totally different than you guys doing on the iPad, and I knew I needed to demonstrate what you guys were going to see. So that was why I went the iPad option. Let's see, after you pick the statistical functions, remember it was standard deviation dot p, so STDEV dot p, and then after you do that, you type in the list of numbers. Make sure you use commas. Okay, so that is your information about what you need to look at. My standard deviation, if I use sigma to represent it, was 6.31343. Okay. You got it? Now, what else do we still need to do? 5-number summary. The first thing you need to find in a 5-number summary is the median. How do we find the median? Line them up in numerical order and find the middle number. What's the unfortunate news here?
It's even.
Not bad. Are my numbers in numerical order?
No.
To me, that's the unfortunate news.
Oh.
The fact that there's an even number of numbers, and that'll be easy to work with. The fact that I have to put these numbers in order right now, that's the unfortunate news in my opinion. So, I personally like to check them, kind of cross them off as I go. 3, 4, 4, 6, 6, 7, 9, 12, 13, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 22, and 25. Now, A, did I check off all my numbers?
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. If I left off one number, I've just ruined the next 5 answers, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least 3 of them, most likely. Now, the other thing I like to check, how many numbers am I supposed to have listed? 16. So what's something else I can do to double check myself? Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I know I have the right number of numbers. Okay, let's talk about median. How do I find that median? Cross them out?
Yeah.
Okay. Start crossing them out, meet in the middle, or I like to look at their 16 numbers, so if I count in 8 from each side, the 8th number in from each side are 12 and 13. How do I find my middle number then? 12 and a half, because?
You add them both up and divide by 2.
Okay. Add them up and divide by 2, or the fact of, I hesitate to say common sense, but what's in the middle of 12 and 13? And it's 12 and a half, right? Logical there. So, this is going to be my median. If you need the math, It's 12 plus 13 divided by 2, which is 12 and a half. Okay. Quartiles. The first quartile was defined as the median of the lower half of the data. Now, here's the deal. So we start basically all numbers to the left of this 12 and a half. So all numbers to the left of the 12 and a half are using the 3 through 12. That's my lower half of the data. What's the median of those values there? Dave? 6. Which, because technically there's what, 8 numbers?
Yeah.
So if I count in 4 and 4, we technically end up between 6 and 6. What's the middle of 6 and 6? 6. Now, if you need the math, 6 plus 6 divided by 2. Yes? Okay. So this is my first quartile. If you ever hear me say lower quartile, I also say lower quartile here. Because I've seen it, I think I probably taught it as lower quartile before I ever taught it as first quartile. Now, repeat the process for the upper half of the data, right? So up here, we're looking at these 8 numbers to the right of my median. And if I count in, do we end up between 15 and 16, I think? And so this is going to be my third quartile. What's in the middle of 15 and 16? 15.5. Or, I'm doing the math here, 15 plus 16 divided by 2 is 15.5. Okay. 5-number summary. I have 3. The other 2 are easy. I need my minimum value and my maximum value. What's my minimum value? 3. And I need my maximum value. What's my maximum value? 25. Okay. Those are your 5-number summary. Now, first of all, I believe when you go to express your answer in Savas, and I didn't take time to play around with this too much, but when you go to express your answer in Savas, what I saw was blank, comma, blank, comma, blank, comma, blank, comma, blank. So to me, that indicates you're just filling in the 5 numbers, yes? So with that in mind, what I think you're going to do in homework is you're just going to fill your 5 numbers in order. So when I go to fill those 5 numbers in order, it's going to be what? 3, comma 6, comma 12.5, comma 15.5, comma 25. And that's your 5-number summary. Now, I do want to talk about box and whisker plot here before we move on, but
Is that okay to do on the test, like to just line them out and then put like minimum versus corporate? Would you want us to like write them on, like below and label
So are you trying to say like keep it like under the number line?
them?
or-
Like keep it like that.
I'm fine with it under the number line, but you do have to label me and tell me what's what.
That's fine.
So basically, it would be fine if we had those at the number.
Yeah.
Like this over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to say most likely.
Okay.
I haven't really thought as far ahead as the test, so that answer could change, but most likely it's going to be okay. Okay, now, the other thing I do want to talk about is box and whisker plots. Just because if nothing else, even if you don't have to do them on Savas or don't see them on Savas, it's one of those things that randomly comes up in places, and I think you need to be familiar with it. Okay? As opposed to when I say box and whisker plot and some of your eyes just go, what? You know. And you should be familiar with it. Okay? It comes up. You could see on standardized testing and stuff. So, in order to draw a box and whisker plot, we're basically going to take these 5 values we just found and plot them with a number line. So the first thing I need to do is I need to draw a number line. I'm going to draw a pretty long number line using all my empty space here. And I'm going to label my number line. Now, when I go to label my number line, do we count 3, 4, 4, 6, 6, 7, 9, 12? That's not counting, is it? That's not number line. So to label the number line, I'm going to do something more like counting in normal order. You have to start as low as 3, go as high as 25. I think what I did earlier is I counted by odds. So I'm not labeling every number, but it gets some key numbers here. So I'm going to say 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25. Guys, we don't need the iPads right now. You shouldn't be on them right now. You should be with me. Now, so there's my number line. Didn't end up using all my space, but with a box and whisker plot, I've seen it done both ways. You have the number line, and you can either put the box and whisker plot below the number line or above the number line. I've obviously kind of set mine up to go below. You don't usually see the box and whisker plot on the number line. It's above or below usually. I'm going to put, for my 5 numbers, I'm going to put a point below. So I'm going to have a point at 3. I'm going to have a point at 6. I'm going to have a point at 12 and a half, which, in between 11 and 13, closer to 11? No. What am I saying? Closer to 13. My goodness, don't let me make that mistake. 15 and a half. In between 15 and 16, or 15 and 17, closer to 15. And then 25. Okay, it's a box and whisker plot. Your end 2 dots make the whiskers. Your middle 3 dots make a box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my middle 3 points. I'm going to draw vertical lines through them. Those 3 vertical lines are what get connected to make my box. And then guess what the other points get connected as?
This is 7th grade.
Whiskers.
They call them something else though.
Oh, they didn't call them box and whisker plots?
I don't.
Miss Pace called them something else.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know.
They had a different name for it.
Okay.
This
And
page.
then you
Miss
start
Pace
drawing
has
it
it
out.
on that.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, I will say, Mrs. Pavin was in here last period, and she made the comment, she's like, yeah, they did. She told me afterwards, she's like, yeah, they learned that in 7th grade this year. So it's good to know that you guys have seen it before at some point, at least some of you.
If you had-
You don't know, I'm gonna have to ask Miss Pace what they're called in her book then. So I've always heard box and whisker plots. As I said, 5 number summary. This is the first time I've heard that vocabulary. But so I'm introducing both. Okay. Got it?
We had to do the 5 numbers.
Deviation.
On your calculator? Nice. As I said,
It's a lot. They go through like 6 different things.
so the Excel was easier?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why I taught Excel over my scientific calculator, because I felt like it was
Like
rough.
I had to shift code and then
Graphic calculators are good. I like it on
shift
there,
code
but.
again, and I was just like,
Okay, guys, let's try another one just like this. Let's practice all the skills. So as we go to this bottom one, what's the first thing we're going to find? The mean.
Wait, please. I have an idea. Like,
Done. Come on, find the mean with us.
alright.
And stay awake and do the whole rest of the problem too.
3 plus 1 plus.
Ooh, these are in order.
Bonus, right?
Thank you.
That will be nice. And here's the idea, guys. In homework, are they always going to be in order or always not going to be in order? I don't know that I really paid attention. They could be in order, they might not be. So just be aware.
Do you know how many questions are on
okay, I think I'm just.
Okay. Ooh, we got to move if we're going to get this done. I just looked at the time. What'd you guys get? What do these add up to be? 311. What are you dividing by? 15. What is 311 divided by 15? 20 point what?
20.73 repeated.
Okay, 20.73, and their 3 is repeating. Remember, mean is also expressed as x bar. So you could also think of it as that. Okay. Standard deviation. Grab the iPads. Try it again. Now, you can clear the data of the box you were just in, or just tap on a new box.
So can you
And
do
repeat
that
the
with
process.
all the boxes?
Yeah. What's the point of all the boxes? Like, what do you do?
Okay, Excel's used for a lot of different things.
It's mainly for like accounting stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
You can
things.
check finances.
Okay, have you found standard deviation here? Come on, let's go, guys.
Yes.
Can never have.
Okay.
I got 11.
Progressive count.
I remember the 11th one that one so. Here's my question. Do I need to go back through it on the screen?
No.
So you remember, you should already be in the formulas tab. The 3 dots brings up statistical functions. Standard deviation, P. Type all the numbers in, number, comma, number, comma, number, comma, number. Right? You get to the end, you hit return or enter.
You guys got 11.266.
What? Did you do like those?
No, it's not 263.
Okay, I'm good.
You find the median of the lower half.
Okay. What'd we get?
11.263.
Okay. 11.2633.
Can't vote on that.
And again, if you didn't get it, please double check what you did, right? Double check what you did. Probably just a typing mistake. And I'm giving you these hints because what's going to happen if you get it wrong in Savas,
You gotta restart.
you're going to have to retry, try typing it again so that you hopefully don't have to redo the whole problem. Okay. Now, 5-number summary. We need to start by finding the median. What has to be true to find the median? They have to be in order. And
They're already in order. Which
already in order. Now, I should have organized this differently. I'm going to recopy my numbers down here so I have room to work on them. 3, 4, 9, 12, 12, 14, 15, 19, 25, 30, 32, 33, 34, 35. And I'm just doing that so I have, this is something when I teach it, I like to be able to mark it all off. I think that's the easiest way. Okay. Count your numbers, right? Should have 15 numbers.
Just go inside.
What do I do for the median?
Start marking them off.
Start marking them off. You should meet in the middle, yes. You count, basically you count 7 in from each side. And then the 8th number from both ways is
19.
19. So this time, because we had an odd number of numbers, my median is just 1 number. I don't have to add and divide by 2. Okay? After we find the median, what do we find?
Min and max.
I save the min and max for last.
First quartile.
First quartile. Just because I don't want to mark extra numbers yet. Now, with the first quartile, here's the deal, guys. You're doing the median of the lower half. Is 19 in the lower half or the upper half?
It's in the middle.
It's in the middle. So 19 goes in neither list. You're going to use the numbers from 3 to 15. Okay? Last time, our median was not actually a number on the list, was it? So we got to use all of our numbers. Here, the median is a number on the list. So count in. There's 7 numbers. The middle number is 12. So this is my first quartile. Repeat the process on the other half, right? This time we're using the numbers from 25 to 35.
Oh no, I was right, I contradicted myself.
Your third quartile, when you find the middle of the upper half, should be 33. And then I also need
Two other things. Minimax.
the min of 3 and
35.
the max of 35. Now, assuming if it's just a list of numbers, you're just typing your 5-number summary into Savas, then again, I assume you just go in order. So 3, please stay with me, 12, 19, 33, and 35. Let's practice one more box and whisker plot.
Why doesn't that sound familiar?
Okay,
Bruh.
box and whisker plot. What about this number line?
It's all sorts of numbers.
Yeah.
We're gonna start at 3.
33 into 35, and you're counting, yes?
Can we go by 5?
We don't count 3, 4, 9, 12.
Can we
Okay.
go by 5?
I don't want to go by something as big as 5 personally because it makes it harder to mark the actual dots. So I'm going to count by 2s again. That's me. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, 35. Okay? Either above your number line or below your number line. Put your 5 points.
5.
So my points are 3, 12, 19,
Part of the instructions for your afternoon announcement.
33,
Just as you remind
35.
backpacks need to remain in your locker. Shoestring bags are acceptable. No hats or hoodies, and hats are only allowed on hat days. Lucky for you guys, we have a hat day coming up on Friday if you would like to participate.
Okay, there you go, guys. Make sure you get your box and whisker plot finished.
What is it called? Oh, no, never mind. That was a dumb
The
question.
Caleb Fowler Memorial Scholarship is open if you would like